Oh boy, guys, it's that time again. Time to make some content for something that we really have no idea as to what's coming in terms of content. We just know Overlord's coming, but we know fuck all about it. So hey, why don't we just get into the Guild War here? So hey, it's a Unbound Knight Arowell, a Belian of all fucking things. Guess what? We see Belian 3 fucking times throughout this entire Guild War. Kind of crazy. And then also a Navy Captain Landy, who's also on death's fucking door. So what I decided to go with here is, because my good pal I'm Sue is probably going to laugh at me because I actually utilized a Charlotte that was on Charles' artifact. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's the one that gives you a buff on your turn. So basically, I'm deciding, hey, maybe I should go on ahead and actually try to use an actual artifact, something that does damage, because the only reason I even had that previous artifact was just so that I have access to a buff on me, so that I'll use the good S1 that actually does the bypassing crit resist shit. Which is another factor of, well, maybe Charlotte needs a little bit of an update, because the fact that even when you get dual attacks with her, she does that single target attack, which doesn't have the crit resist bypass. I don't know, guys. Maybe it would be a good idea. Maybe something. But, like, either way. The big thing that we're going here into is we've already dealt with the Navy Captain Landy, mainly because we're doing all the oh-so-wonderful crit resist resisting horseshit, because crit resist is a horrible fucking mechanic that is in the game right now. Not because crit resist is bad, but because Navy Captain Landy is literally fucking everywhere. And because she's everywhere, lol, everyone has crit resist now. What a fucking thing for a buff to be almost non-existent and almost never used into literally almost every fucking team. Clap, clap, clap. A+ for balance there. So anyway, we haven't even talked about the team here, but basically what we got here is Roana was there just in case Navy Captain Landy or Belian were going to go off on counterattacks. Elvira's there to make it so Fighting Spirit and Fighting Spirit just straight up doesn't work, so then we can just kill the Navy Captain, and Charlotte just kind of goes in and hits things. Woohoo! But either way, now on to the fun shit. So hey, Conqueror Lilias. Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to have Moon Bunny Dominiel here with us, who is literally going to fucking stand there and actually counter the bullshit that Conqueror Lilias is doing. So then next, we're going to use the S3 here, give ourselves even more buffs so that Rimuru can do some fucking next level war crime shit, because look at all those buffs that he has. This is going to basically result in easy 10k in terms of damage that's going to go into this ae-KARINA. And now, straight up, oh cool, you're mega dead now. Bam. Now, here's where I think I made a mistake. Because the damage that Jenua does on his S3, it's pretty much fixed because it is a death-piercing move. But I do think his S1 actually does have better modifiers on it. At least I think. Please tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Tell me, hey, Lucent's over here talking fucking mad bullshit again because he's dumb as shit. But basically, I think his S1 actually has better modifiers, and I think if I S1'd the deaf-broken Alencia, I don't know if I would have killed, but I think I would have done more damage than the S3. But either way, because, hey, LOL, bad luck, I didn't bring Huayong with me. Huayong would have actually been a better target into this, but, hey, Jenua is pretty hard to fucking debate bringing because, hey, you may lose a character or you may take a big heavy hit here and there whenever it comes to using Jenua, but he's practically going to guarantee you a win on a Guild War team, especially if you take care of any and all of the things that will fuck him up, like, say, an ae-KARINA, for example, or any other really oppressive blue. And, hey, looky there. They're all fucking dead. Hoorah. This is going great. But either way, now on to another oh-so-wonderful fun team. So hey, it's a whole bunch of light shit. It's Spirit Eye Celine, Belian, and who else? Oh yes, Unbound Knight Arowell. I was considering going into this with Arunca, but I didn't have the confidence that my damage would be able to handle, say, a Belian, because Belian does have a lot of HP. She doesn't typically have a lot of defense, so I could have tried it. I just didn't feel like it was worth the risk, because you're also going into a Spirit Eye Celine. That's another unit that you'd either need to bring a Dark Bait to, or like any of that other shenanigans. But here's where I was like, okay, well, you know what? What's the worst that could possibly happen? Oh, well, the Belian could be on fucking injury, like we're seeing right fucking now. So this is essentially like the worst case scenario that I was expecting, because I'm basically bringing in a whole bunch of thick, chunky boys and Angelic Montmorancy, who heals based on the chunkiness of her allies. So basically now, okay, we're on a time limit here. First and foremost, what we need to do is we need to get rid of the Unbound Knight Arowell, because with the Unbound Knight Arowell there, basically any and all hits going into any of the other units, it's going to be like heavily nerfed. They're going to be taking a fraction of the damage that can go into them, and straight up, we can't even really go into the Spirit Eye Celine because of the damage limit that is on her character, and the fact that she's going to be Aureus sharing it, or Escort sharing it with the Unbound Knight Arowell. So, we'll go ahead and we'll deal with that. And right here, I'm not even fucking paying attention. Because, like, yeah, her possession buff isn't even on her right now. I could have gone into her with the Last Rider Krau, just to deal a little bit extra damage. But then I happened to catch myself, and it's like, okay, wait, fuck it. We'll just go into her, we'll see if we provoke her, and we happen to do it. So, now that we have her provoked, and she doesn't have possession buff up, that's not a guarantee that she's going to get Nimble Sword. And because she doesn't get Nimble Sword right there, well, she doesn't cleanse off that provoke, and she doesn't do anywhere near as much damage. And she doesn't get the lifesteal, because this one is not on a lifesteal set. But either way, yeah, I did go into this with an S3. I probably didn't need to do that, but I just wanted to make 100% sure that I was going to kill her, because I just didn't think that the S1 would deal enough damage to really kill her. Whatever. I was just paranoid. But either way, now that we have that under control, now all that's left is Belian. Now, Belian, anytime you have Last Rider Krau with you, it feels pretty fucking safe. Now, normally you would think like an injury Belian, oh god, that's gotta be like Last Rider Krau's biggest weakness or whatever. In a way, you are kind of right, because a lot of the times, whenever Belian is going to be going into Last Rider Krau, especially if she is on injury, she is going to get the hit in, and you're going to take that injury damage. But you're also going to be getting the cooldown reductions on your S3. And the more and more times you get that S3, which is pretty much just straight up fair, flat damage because it completely death pierces and you're not dealing with any of that bullshit, you're essentially going to just be doing more and more damage. This is also a light hero that's also going to be going into Dark Corvus, and even if we're at max injury, we still do somewhat decent damage to her whenever we even have injury on us. But either way, the reason why we didn't have Roana with us on the first team was because we were going to use Roana on the second team. It's almost like Roana's the best fucking healer in the game or some shit, and I'll probably go into that in a diatribe or other kind of complaining horse shit that I'll do in the next fight. But basically, we're going into some pretty old school shit. So this is Conqueror, Lilias, Senya, and then a Choux. Now, I have showcased this numerous times that if I wanted to, I bet you anything, I could probably duo this with Roana and Shadow Knight Pyllis, especially after Shadow Knight Pyllis is, you know, good now in terms of fighting this bullshit that is Choux. Because any and all of the additional attacks and the, like the S1, S2 shenanigans that Choux can do just based off of pure fucking luck, that doesn't do anywhere near as much damage to Shadow Knight Pyllis as it used to. Sure, the S2 by itself can still hurt you a fair bit, but you should still be good because you're going to be going into counterattacks, dual attacks, all that other shit wild and crazy. You're going to be building up lots and lots of will, and you're also going to have death buff almost the entire fucking fight. So, I'm willing to bet you could probably absolutely just duo this with Roana and Shadow Knight Pyllis. If you don't want to do that, you can always bring Silvertide Christie with you. I used to always bring Christie with me just in case, as a means of, okay, cool, it's a unit that is protecting in the back. It's I used to have her on Aureus, and you know, basically she would just take some of the damage for me, and then hey, we're good to go. And basically, if I was ever going into a Lua Senya Choux, then I would have Christie there with Shadow Knight Pyllis, and then I wouldn't even get debuffed, and then you just kind of hit auto until you win. Now, here is like one of the very few examples of why I usually don't like to bring Lionheart Cermia into these. It feels like Lionheart Cermia almost feels like a liability sometimes, especially if you don't have the HP to really back up, like, how much damage that you can take. Because whenever you have two greens in Shadow Knight Pyllis, basically Shadow Knight Pyllis is taking all of the damage. But because we don't have two greens in Shadow, we have Lionheart Cermia in Shadow. So basically, at one point, if her health ever gets lower than Shadow Knight Pyllis, basically she can start taking the damage, and that can get really bad because, hey, you're going into death-piercing horseshit. And that's probably the worst thing that Lionheart Cermia does not want to fucking fight. And now on to our last team here. So this at first looked somewhat respectable because it is a Senya and then it's an Apocalypse Ravi, but then you see a Rule of Light on the very end there. Bro, I really, really hope one day, like, Rule of Light's just going to show up in the balance patches and just healers in general are going to be, like, good at some point. Notice I didn't say Soul Weavers. I didn't say Soul Weavers because it's the healer class that is kind of fucking shit in the game right now. Like, they're kind of relegated only to some forms of PvE content. Unless you have, like, a really, really strong-ass tank-down team that you can utilize with a healer. And that healer is almost always fucking Roana. Now, I know it sounds like I'm talking a lot of cash money shit, but let's go ahead and get into this real quick. So, we've set up with Mediator Kawerik and with Sylvan Sage Vivian. We have attack buff, we have crit damage buff, we have Warhorn. We have so much shit going for us, even if that was a Proof of Valor, which it was, a Proof of Valor Apocalypse Ravi, that bitch is in the fucking Shadow Realm now. So, okay, cool. I think I still need to probably do a little bit of work on my LQC, because, like, I feel like you shouldn't be relying on things like Hellcutter, because at any point, like, dual attacks can happen, and then you just straight up lose your fucking damage. But, like, either way, this is, like, the only thing that healers are kind of doing as of right now. And in this case, for fucking Rule of Light, oh yeah, cool, she brought back Senya. But, like, this isn't really affecting me in any way, especially because the Senya can't break through, like, a Mediator Kawerik cleansing and Mediator Kawerik, like, immunity giving. And straight up, like, the Rule is already dead, because she wasn't able to heal herself as well as the Senya. Now, for example, in another character who can heal better, like, say, Roana, the only thing that Roana cannot do is she just can't cleanse. She has to have an artifact for it. That's literally the only thing she can't do. Bitch can even revive, but it's not a perfect revive. It's a revive based off of having revive buff. So basically, like, what I'm saying here is I think a lot of healer classes, not the Soul Weavers are retarded as of right now because they've kind of warped into this new fucking weird-ass role where they're offensive and they do really, really weird-ass shenanigans and tons of them don't even heal now. But, like, the actual healer classes, I think they just need a boost. Like, they just need more HP given to them. And I'll kind of go into that here in a little bit. Because when it comes to fucking healing, baby, like, you can't beat Vigilant Eye. You just fucking can't. So, right here, we're going into the dreaded Abyssal Euphine and Navy Captain Landy and Belian. Holy fucking shit, that is a lot of counter shit. And also, that's an injury Belian. Hey, whatever, don't care. Also, for whatever reason, that Abyssal Euphine wasn't on Holy Sack. In fact, they were pretty much, like, all on Elbrus. So it's like, oh, okay, so I was just making the right call picking Roana because I'm going to be seeing lots and lots of extra attacks, lots and lots of counter attacks, all this crazy shit. And maybe it's just my own bias here of like, oh yeah, Roana's so good into the current meta because we're basically fighting counterattack shit like out the fucking wazoo. Because the only heals that Roana even has is on her S3. The only reason why mine can heal so effectively is because I also have her on a counter set and on Celestine. So, with those two things in general, oh fuck, we're just healing like crazy into like everything, because we're not only are we getting Vigilant Eye procs and healing, we're also getting like counterattack healing, we're also getting regular S1 attack healing. It just feels like it's extremely insane in terms of how much healing that we're getting, and no other healer in the entire fucking game can even remotely compete with this level of healing. Maybe it's my own bias because we're going into counter shit almost all the time. But like either way, I haven't even talked about this team here. Basically, Elvira's here. Basically makes Fighting Spirit not work. Charlotte, once again, goes in, makes things work because attacks go into her. She gives herself a buff. Because all of this was a test as to, hey, can I make this work with like, I don't know, mature sunglasses or some shit instead of using the other artifact? And hey, it all works out. And Roana's there because Roana is mega based. Alright, yeah, that wasn't bad. It was about, like, 14 or so minutes of just completely bullshitting into the fucking camera because, quite frankly, there was nothing to really talk about. Like, boy, don't you guys love whenever, like, hey, we know, like, a lot of crazy shit's coming, guys. Overlord's coming. But it's not gonna be here till, like, the 18th. So, fuck. Good luck with your fucking content, Drought. It's basically, like, the shit that we're seeing as of right now. Because, like, I don't know what else to fucking talk about. Especially because we have no, like, previews of any of the Overlord characters. We can make a estimated guess that Shaltir and Albedo are going to be in it. We don't know anything about the artifacts. We don't know dick about, like, even Ainz himself. A lot of speculations going around saying, oh, he's going to be free and he's going to be ML. Woo! That's going to be the first fucking collab ML that we ever get, if that's fucking true. But, like, I don't know, man. I just don't have, like, any hype for this event, so maybe, like, it's just not affecting me in the way that, like, a lot of other people are super, super hyped for Overlord, because there's a lot more fans for Overlord than I really even thought, but whatever, man. But either way, in other news, hey guys, Jenua's still fucking mega based, even though his banner finally ended. Yeah, and I was able to get, what, two artifacts that I don't even know what to fucking do with. I guess I'll just leave them on Midnight Gala Lilias and fucking, I don't even know who the other one's on. But like, hey, whatever. Are we almost done here? Because there's really, literally nothing to fucking talk about. So, hey guys, if you like this content, go on ahead and hit that like button. I don't know why the fuck you would. And if you want to see more of my content, go on ahead and hit subscribe. I love you guys. Remember, say it back.